Welcome all to this fourth video in the series of learning file handling in C. If you have not watched the first three videos, I will suggest you to watch those first before proceeding for this video for better understanding. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button below to get new videos on C every now and then. In the last three videos, we have covered these many points. So we have seen how to create a file, how to open a file using same function fopen. Again, we have seen how to close a file using fclose function. Then we have gone through various operations on the file which are writing, reading and random access to the file. So these are the various operations that we have seen right now in the theoretical way. What today we are going to do is we are going to do one simple program based on these concepts. Okay, so let's do a simple program in the file handling that is given to us. Okay, so the problem is write a program to create a record of employees in the company that will contain following information: name, age and experience. So basically what we want to do is there is a company which wants to create a record of its employees in terms of every employee's name, his or her age and experience. Okay, so the probable solution for this particular problem will be just imagine it in your mind how we are going to solve this particular problem. First, we are going to, in the step one, we are going to get data from the user. Okay, each user is going to come on that particular computer where we are going to execute our code, and he is going to provide his or her data in terms of name, age, and experience. Okay, so step one would be get data from the user by asking it on the screen. Okay, step 2 will be, now as we are dealing with file handling, we are going to create one file and put every data that we are getting from the user on that particular file that we are going to create. Okay. Step 3 would be, again, when the data is completely filled, the data is completely put onto the file. Suppose the owner of that company wants to review that data, wants to read what is the information on that. So he can read the data. So we want to put a code in our programming to read that data from the file. And last step would be, so after reading the data into your programming, you are supposed to put that onto the screen so that that particular owner will be able to see what the information is there in that particular file. So this is how we are going to solve our program. Okay, so now we are going to switch directly towards the programming part. Okay, and I'm going to open the code blocks for the same. Okay, one more thing before going for the code blocks is that, as you can observe here, out of all the 4 steps, 2 steps will be there for the screen, whereas the other 2 steps will be there for the file. Okay, so the step number 1 and step number 4, they are usual programming or the conventional programming that we have done till now, and the 2 more steps are there which will be dealing with file handling. So the thing that we have to consider here is that half of our code will be dealing with file handling and half of our code will be dealing with the screen of the user. Okay, so we will switch now to the code blocks. Okay, so this is the folder in which I have created my code blocks project, and now towards the code blocks. Okay, so as you can see, I have already written the code down so that we will not waste our time in typing it down. So just observe it by line, we are going to consider what we have done in the programming part. Okay, so first, as you all know, we are including the stdio.h file because the definition of all the functions are hidden in that. Okay, now we'll directly switch towards the main part. Okay, so first is the declaration part. So as we are going to require three number of information, means the name of your employee, second the age of his or her, and third will be the experience. Okay, so these 3 variables I have declared first that we are going to require, and another string. Okay, so because this is char, observe here, this variable, okay, this I am creating 2 strings here. First string, it's called name, and other string is called as all. Okay, so why this all is created, I will tell you in the latter part. Timing, just assume that this name string is created to store the name of the employee, age is created to store the age in terms of integer, and the experience is expected in float, that is why it is created in float. Okay, now the next part, most important part of this code will be creation of the file. Okay, so as we have told in the earlier video as well, how to do it, we can create a file using a function which is called as fopen. Okay, so line number 9, what I have done in line number 8 and 9, I have written the code for creation of the file. Okay, so what we have done, we have used fopen function to create file. Okay, the name of my file now will be abc.txt. Okay, so I have added one extension txt so that it will be easier for me to open it using notepad. Okay, and observe here the mode carefully. This will be very important for this code. The mode is W. Okay, so the W mode stands for writing purpose. So what this whole code indicates is that I am going to create or open one file whose name is abc.txt, and it is open for writing purpose. Okay, writing means, carefully understand here, writing means if the file is not existing, the file will be created using this function for writing. The writing will start from very start or the zeroth position of the file. Whereas if the file is already existing, suppose the file is already existing in the system, fopen will open this file and it will erase all the data that was previously there, and it will start writing it from the zeroth position or the starting position. Okay, so this file, these two lines are creating that. Okay, so one pointer variable p I have used to indicate this information. As I've already told you, wherever I am going to use p, it will mean that abc file, abc.txt file opened for writing purpose. Okay, so if I want to do any write operation, I'm going to use this p pointer variable, and this is the declaration for this pointer variable that we have seen in the earlier videos as well. Okay, so now the first part. Okay, first I'm going to ask for the name from the user. Okay, so this printf part, observe here carefully. Printf line number 11, printf is indicating I am going to put this printf or whatever I am writing inside this printf onto the screen. Okay, so carefully observe here what is the difference between the code that I am writing for the screen and the code that I am writing for the file. These two lines I have written for the file creation, whereas again this 11 number line I am using it for the screen, where this information, which information enter the name, this line will be printed as it is onto the screen because I am using the same regular function printf. Okay, now scanf is again for regular screen. Okay, for using scanf, I'm whatever name the user is going to give, I'm going to store it inside the string that I've created whose name is name. Okay, so because it is a string, the data type would be %s. Okay, now fprintf, now carefully observe here, there is a very important line here. Fprintf means now I have got the name, I want to print that name onto the file. Okay, so what is the use of or how to use fprintf? First, you are supposed to write the file onto which you want to write. Okay, so because I am using p here to indicate abc for writing mode, I have written p here so that I will be able to write my information onto my file. So what is the meaning of this line? It is going to print whatever data is there inside this name variable onto the file indicated by pointer p. Okay, along with this some more information, name is equal to, this part will be also added, and after that this information, which information, name of that particular employee. So whole of this part will be printed as it is onto the file which is created, which file, abc.txt, which was open for writing mode. Okay, now next part, next I'm going to ask the user for his age, his or her age. Okay, again that age value using regular scanf function, I'm going to store that inside one variable which is age. Okay, observe here there is and operator here which was missing here because it was a string, so and is not used, whereas for integer we make use of and operator in the scanf. Again fprintf is used, this line is dealing with file. This fprintf, what it will do, it whatever values there inside this age variable, this age variable value will be printed onto the file which is indicated or pointed by variable p. After this data, make this point very clear, that the data will be not overwritten onto the file, the data will be added after this part. Okay, so fprintf, it adds the values after one by other. Okay, and the third part for from the user is the experience. Okay, so we are going to ask him for the experience. We are going to get it from the scanf function, and again using fprintf function, what we are doing is we are going to print whatever the value of experience is inside the file that we have created, and along with this information, experience is equal to the value will be printed onto the file as it is. Again, this information will be added after this information. Okay, so what totally my file is containing right now? My file is containing name is equal to whatever name that user has given. After that, age is equal to whatever age that user has provided, and experience is equal to whatever experience that user has provided in terms of float. That value is now stored inside that particular while. Now, next instruction, as you know, whenever we are done with a particular mode, whenever we are done with the particular operation, we close that particular file. Okay, so now this f close p. This means that I am done with my writing operation of my file. So I want to close that particular mode. I want to close that particular file for that particular mode. So this means that f close p means that I am closing abc.txt file for writing mode. Okay. But now our next task was to read from that file. Whatever I have written, all the data, I have written everything onto my file. But my next task is to read from that particular file. Okay. So again, I will have to open my file for reading mode. Carefully observe here is that you have to first close the previous mode, which was writing mode. And again, you will have to write this instruction for reading from your file. Now that file star p declaration is not required. It is only done once. But this line has to be written again. Only the change here, like in the previous line, was that in the previous line we had written w here, it was opened for writing mode, whereas in this case I have opened it for reading mode. So observe here r, the name of the file should be same, exactly same as that of the one that on which you have written the code. Okay, now next instruction, carefully observe that I have opened the file for reading. And how we can read from the file? There is one function that we have already seen, which is fscanf. Okay, so using fscanf, I can read from the file. How the reading is done? Carefully understand the meaning of this particular line. How fscanf works? Fscanf will read from the file. Which file? Indicated by P. Now P is indicating abc.txt for reading mode. Okay, so fscanf can do or work reading from this file. Okay, so fscanf, it will read from this file, and whatever data it is reading, it will be read as a string, and data will be stored inside variable all. Okay, so that is why I had told you earlier that I have created one string whose name is all, and I have deliberately put the size as 1000 because I was expecting more data inside this particular variable. So what my fscanf is doing right now, it is reading all the data from the file, and every data or whole of the data will be put inside this string, okay, as a string. Okay, now the data is there inside my variable all, and I want to print my data, which was the last step in the solution part. Okay, so for printing the data onto the screen, don't use fprintf. If I want to print data onto the screen, the function that we use regularly is printf. Okay, so by using printf, you can put the data onto the screen. As you can observe here, %s all, this will put whatever data is there inside all onto the screen. And again, the last thing that you want to do is close your pointer. Okay, now this will close the file abc.txt for reading mode and return 0. Okay, so I hope you have all understood how or the code for that particular problem. In the next video, what we are going to do is we are going to check how to check the output of this particular code. Okay, and where that output is stored, how the output is stored onto the file, how to check that, everything we are going to check in the next video. Thank you.